भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Questions by Vidura, Text 40. I'll share my screen. I hope this is visible to everyone. So we'll
Yes,
read
Prabhu.
this verse, text 40. अहो पृथापि ध्रियतेर्भकार्थे राजर्षिवर्येण विनापि तेन यस्त्वेकवीरोधिरो विजज्ञे धनुर्द्वितीया ककुभश्च तस्त्रः. I will read it 3 times. अहो पृथापि ध्रियतेर्भकार्थे राजर्षिवर्येण विनापि तेन यस्त्वेकवीरोधिरथो विजिज्ञे धनुर्द्वितीयः ककुभश्च तस्त्र. अहो पृथापि ध्रियतेर्भकार्थे राजर्षिवर्येण विनापि तेन यस्त्वेकवीरोधिरथो विजिज्ञे धनुर्द्वितीयः ककुभश्च तस्त्रः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O my Lord, is Pritha still living? She lived only for the sake of her fatherless children. Otherwise, it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the 4 directions simply with the help of a second bow. Purport. A faithful wife cannot live without her lord, the husband, and therefore all widows used to voluntarily embrace the burning fire which consumed the dead husband. This system was very common in India because all the wives were chaste and faithful to their husbands. Later on, with the advent of the age of Kali, the wives gradually began to be less adherent to their husband, and the voluntary embrace of the fire by the widows became a thing of the past. Very recently, the system was abolished since the voluntary system had become a forcible social custom. When Maharaj Pandu died, both his wives, namely Kunti and Madri, were prepared to embrace the fire. But Madri requested Kunti to live for the sake of the younger children, the 5 Pandavas. This was agreed upon by Kunti at the added request of Vyasadeva. In spite of her great bereavement, Kunti decided to live, not to enjoy life in the absence of her husband, but only to give protection to the children. The incident is referred to here by Vidura because he knew all the facts about his sister-in-law Kunti. It is understood that Maharaj Pandu was a great warrior and that he alone, with the help of bow and arrow, could conquer the world's 4 directions. In the absence of such a husband, it was almost impossible for Kunti to live on even as a widow, but she had to do it for the sake of the 5 children. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणम्।
Prabhu,
Yes, bro. So is there something you are saying, Lakshmikant Prabhu?
Prabhu, your voice becomes slow. I don't know. Is it for everybody or
Yes, Prabhu.
It's not
oh, for
audible.
everyone, right? Okay. Oh, it's coming on and off, Prabhu, now.
Is it maybe my internet connection has some issue?
Yeah, now it's clear. Now it's clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So first of all, I would like to thank all the devotees who are residing in ISKCON Naperville congregation for allowing me to serve you in this way. It has been quite a long time that I was not I was able to come in touch with all of you. I think the last 2 months have been different programs were arranged at ISKCON Naperville, which I dearly miss. Uh, I actually miss the entire Naperville congregation so badly. I keep remembering everyone every day. Only thing which makes me happy is that I am in Tirupati, the residence of Lord Balaji, and I keep praying for all of you here. I keep praying, I keep offering prayers. I just go outside of my home, I see the beautiful Seshachalam hill, and where the Lord Balaji has been residing for so many centuries and millenniums actually. And this hill is so sacred that just by getting the darshan of the hill itself gives us a sense of getting purified actually, you know. And all this great hill has been glorified in several scriptures by various great devotees, especially the alvars in the Sri Sampradaya. And I feel very fortunate to be here, but I very badly miss all of you staying on the other part of the globe actually. But this Bhagavatam class is something which gives me an opportunity to meet all of you, to see all of you, to interact with all of you. So getting into today's verse, this first chapter in the third canto is actually the questions by Vidura, but actually the questions have not yet started. They have started in one sense. These questions are pertaining to the welfare of various families connected to Krishna. In the 40 odd, I think that today we are discussing the 40th verse. So even now, Vidura is just questioning Uddhava on all these various families and various people who are related to Krishna. Just like when we go and meet someone after a long time, we just ask, "How are you?" Right? And we also ask, "How is your family?" Like that, Vidra is also asking Uddhava, "How are you and how is all our family members?" But then there is a difference between Vidura asking this and we asking. We generally, most probably, if not always, we generally ask because either we have some attachment to the people about whom we are inquiring, or we have a social custom that we don't have any attachment, but we are socially bound to ask. That is considered as a good behavior, good manners, right? So that's why we ask. But then in Vidura's case, it is different. His own family members, especially the Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, threw him out of the family, right? They threw him out of the family, And if you remember in the previous verses in the same chapter, Duryodhana warns Vidura, saying that you should leave this palace only with your breath. You cannot take anything from here. So he becomes like a mendicant. He dresses himself like a mendicant. He puts the bow at the entrance of the palace, and then he leaves from there. And he grows matted hair. In fact, in one of the verses, it also says that he did not have hairdressing through his journey. So he grew long hairs, beard, hair, and all that. So nobody could recognize him. Although Vidura is a very popular personality, he is known for his advices to various people. But then he was unrecognizable in his new avatar. Uh, And this person is traveling all over the world, all over the Bharatavarsha, specifically Bharatavarsha, visiting all the holy places. He went to north, east, west, south. Special description of river Saraswati is given, and so many holy places near Saraswati are mentioned. And he is traveling. He is traveling just like a mendicant. Now this is a wonderful thing that we all need to observe, that he had no attachment to his kingly royal position. Although he was not considered as a one among the, I mean, he's brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu, right? But he was not from a royal order. But he was given, he was given all the facility of a kingly person. But still, when the time came, he just left all of them very easily. He was not attached to them. Because, that goes to show that he accepted all these things just as a matter of acceptance, just as a matter of some social convenience, or we can call it anyway. But in no way he is actually attached to all these things. And the proof is that when he was asked to leave, just left them without any. He did not carry any envy towards anyone. That is one more great thing. He never thought that these people are giving me some facility now and then they are depriving me of this facility after some time. No, he did not think like that. This reminds me of several incidents in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We see the example of Pandavas. There is a chapter in the first canto which comes, Pandavas retire timely. Because now the time has come to retire from this world. They did not have any attachment. If you see the entire Mahabharata, the culmination is that Pandavas got back their kingdom, but they were not attached to that. That's the amazing thing. If you work so hard to get something, if you work so hard, and even with divine intervention was needed to get that thing, and when you lose it, you will feel like, oh, such a great loss. And Pandavas never felt like that, right? Because they were never attached to kingdom. It was only their responsibility given by the supreme order to rule the kingdom, and for that they worked hard, not to actually become like kings. This is one example, Pandavas example. And another example which comes to my mind is Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj left the kingdom. An example is given that as soon as a man passes stool, he doesn't look towards that. He just leaves that place without even looking back. Right? Similarly, he left the kingdom, wives, all these things at a very young age. This goes to show that he has no attachment for any of that. Not only in that life, when he became Jadabharata also, he was given Sitoshna, Sukadukka, Manapaman. Everything was given to him, right? But still, he was never attached to these things. Like in case of Bharat Maharaj, he was given Sukha Dukkha in terms of he was taken to be chopped off in front of Kali. Before that, he was given very nice bath, a big feast, everything was given. He just accepted that also. And then when he was being chopped off, he did not protest. That means for him, both of them are same. Similarly, Sukha Dukkha, Man Apaman was also there. At one point, Rahugana was scolding him. Rahugana was chastising him. Hey, you are such a hefty man. You are not able to take me properly. You are dancing. You are walking like dancing. It's very inconvenient for me. And after some time, the same Rahugana realized that this personality is a great personality. And then he bowed down in front of Bharat Maharaj. At that time also, he had no, he was not feeling like, okay, now you understood my position. Generally, we have this in our conditioned state, right? In devotee circle, this generally happens. Like somebody chastises us, and then later they are going through some difficulty. At that time, they will say, we think, at least we may not speak out, but we think that acha hua iske saath, good that it happened to him. Now he will realize who I am. Right? So this kind of attitude is there in conditioned souls, but in great souls, this is not there. The example here is Vidura, who is traveling through all the world, all the places in Bharatavarsha, all the holy places. He is going through several places, and he is actually taking the darshan of the Lord. He is actually bowing in front of the Lord, and he is just remembering the pastimes of the Lord. And through his travels, all the Mahabharat war took place, and all the Kauravas died. And then now he is meeting Uddhava on the banks of Yamuna, and then he is asking about each and every person. How is Yuyudhana? How is Surasena? How is Devaki? How is Kunti? All these things he is asking. These are the questions he is asking to Uddhava. And Uddhava has not yet started speaking. Later we will see that Uddhava doesn't speak. He sends him to Maitreya. But then this questioning is very important. Just like I gave an example that we ask questions, how are you, right? Similarly, he is also asking questions. But then in Vidura's case, it is different because he is not asking out of just some social formality. He has affection for these people. Now, it is very important for us to understand conditioned souls have attachments, and realized souls or great souls have affection. These two are two different things. Attachment is to understand, what can I get out of this relationship? That is what is attachment. Attachment keeps asking this question, okay, like for example, if a earning member of the family passes away, we may ask a question, oh, who will earn? Or let's say he defaults, in the sense like, he doesn't earn anymore. At that time, we keep asking him question, hey, you are not doing your responsibility, you should do it, this is basically attachment. In some cases, it may be a genuine reason he is not able to do that, maybe because of some health condition or whatever. But then many times we end up being attached to our people, to the people around us. That is what is condemned by the Shastra. But affection is not condemned, because affection is something that every living entity is looking for. We say we want to love and be loved, but in devotee circle we forget this, and we simply think like, I can love anybody in the world except devotees. Why? Because many times we get this bitter feeling with devotees, many times bitter experiences with devotees. That time we feel like, a devotee, okay, being a devotee, how can he act like this? This kind of questions come. Again, this is another side of our conditioned nature. Basically, when we see some devotee, or when we talk about anyone being a devotee, then we automatically expect that this person carries all these great, so many features. He should be humble, he should be meek, he should be non-violent, he should always speak very politely, very nicely, should always take care of others. These things we expect. It is good that these things are required in a devotee, of course. But then everyone is in the process of making, right? We are not devotees yet. That itself, our response to all these different situations in life itself shows us that we are not yet devotees. We still have a long way to go. We only know how an ideal devotee is, but then unfortunately we keep projecting that image on every devotee that we meet, and then get disappointed. We don't understand that these devotees are in making. That doesn't mean that you can treat them in the way you want. That only is for us to apply that common sense that devotees can also make mistakes. It's possible. We see many devotees in the Shastra also. They are not pure devotees yet, but they commit mistakes. It is possible. But then Lord is there to protect them and rectify them. In this particular incident, in this shloka, our Vidura is asking about Pritha. From the name Pritha comes Partha. Pritha is Kunti Maharani. We see an entire section dedicated to prayers of teachings of Queen Kunti in the first canto. She is not an ordinary lady, just like anyone else. She is considered as one of the acharyas of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very powerful acharyas of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. And she did a great sacrifices for the sake of her children. She never discriminated between her children and Madri's children. We see this is the contrast with what Dhritarashtra says. Dhritarashtra, the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandava. This is how he discriminates. Mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. What my sons and Pandu's sons are doing. This is what he asked. But Kunti did not ask, never treated like that. Kunti always treated, Nakula and Sahadeva also to be her own children. She never gave them this feeling like, you are Madri's children. The three Pandavas are my children. Not only Kunti, you can see Yudhishthir also did the same. He never, in the situation where Yakshas ask 100 questions to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Yudhishthir Maharaj eloquently answers all these questions and satisfies the Yakshas. At that time they say, we can give you one of your brothers. Can you please choose one out of the remaining? All four were dead. Yudhishthir was alone living. And then whom did he choose? He did not choose Arjuna and Bhima. He chose Nakula. Why did he choose? The reason also he gives. Yakshas ask, what is the reason? Why did you choose Nakula? Arjuna and Bhima are very powerful. You could have chosen them. But then what Yudhishthir Maharaj says, for my mother, I am there. For Madri, there should be one person also. Madri is not there. Madri already died along with her husband. But then he said, according to the Dharma, there is one son for Kunti, there should be one son for Madri also. So I need Nakula. That's what he asks. And then Yakshas become so pleased, they return all the four brothers of Yudhishthir Maharaj. They never actually had any fighting. In fact, Yudhishthir Maharaj had the heart of treating Kauravas also in the same way. He sends Bhima to help Duryodhana when Yakshas actually capture him in another incident. Bhima was so happy that now he got Duryodhana got a good lesson. That's what Bhima was thinking. But then Yudhishthir Maharaj said, see, we may be fighting amongst us, but then when outside people come, we are not, 5 Pandavas and they are not 100 Kauravas. We are actually 105 brothers. We should act as a unit. That is the broad vision of Yudhishthir Maharaj. This is how we see the difference between Kauravas mentality and Pandavas mentality. Vidura was one such person who went and gave some good advice to Dhritarashtra. And for that, he said, your son is like a cobra. He is a poisonous snake. You are keeping him and feeding him. What do you get out of feeding a snake? If you keep feeding a snake grows poison, right? He doesn't actually grow some nice qualities. So he says, you get rid of your son. But then Duryodhan hears this and he banishes Vidura. And because of Dhritarashtra's attachment to Duryodhan, he could not speak a word. But now Vidura is remembering all these things, and he is specifically remembering all those who are very close and intimate to the Lord, to Lord Krishna. One of them was Kunti Maharani. In the 2 paragraphs of this purport, Prabhupada actually gives the first paragraph, the social custom, that was prevalent for some time in India, and what is the condition now. And then he speaks about Kunti Maharani. We will try to understand these two things separately. First of all, coming to the social custom of Sati. Sati means the wife just enters the fire at the time of the funeral of her husband. This is done because wife has a very deep attachment with the husband, and she feels like she cannot live without the presence of her husband. Prabhupada very clearly says here that later on, with the advent of the age of Kali, the wives gradually began to be less adherent to their husbands, and the voluntary embrace of the fire by the widows became a thing of the past. So nowadays, it's just it's not present; it is abolished, especially because it has become perverted. Kali is one of the characteristics of Kali Yuga is that every dharmic activity will be perverted in the age of Kali. So everything will be perverted. We cannot, there is no activity in the age of Kali which can be performed purely. That's the effect of Kali Yuga. This is one of them. We can see one big example is Varnashrama Dharma. Varnashrama Dharma is a very scientific social order of the society, where there is no distinction based on birth. It is only for the sake of a proper functioning of the society. But because of the perversions of Kali, we see that as a discriminating social order, which actually brings about so many disparities in the society. So that's how the Varnashram Dharma has become today. And it is very difficult to establish, and that's why Prabhupada actually gave what is called Daivi Varnashram system. Of course, he was always thinking of very solidly establishing this Varnashrama system, but then he always felt like he could not do it enough. Similarly, there is this example of getting children married at a young age. Now that is considered as illegal, but then in the olden days it was done for a purpose. Like the man and the boy and the girl were married when they were much younger. Like for example, my grandmother got married when she was 9 year old. And my grandfather was like 14 or 15-year-old. So now at that time it was not like, okay, the boy takes the girl to to their house. It's not like that. So in the young age itself they were married, and they were not kept together. Actually, they were staying with their own parents. And the purpose is that when the girl now, from a very young age, she is actually considering a person as her husband, a man as her husband, even before knowing what is the meaning of wife and husband. So she develops this very deep attachment. Once in a while, the husband visits the wife's house. At that time, she's asked to serve this man, and this man, and slowly they say that he is your husband and you have to live with him. All these things are taught by the parents. But then over a period of time, what happened, this became a very perverted system, where the man is like 60, 70-year-old, and the girl is like 9, 10-year-old. This kind of system has come. This is again one more perversion, the age of Kali. Like that, the list can be very, very long, and there is no end to that. Everything is perverted in Kali Yuga. In the second paragraph, actually, the little bit of history is given on Kunti and Madri and Pandu Maharaj. And here we can see this was agreed upon by Kunti at the added request of Vyasadeva. What was agreed? That she takes care. She was not willing to live in the absence of Pandu, but still she agreed. So this is one of the management lessons that we can learn. A person becomes qualified to occupy a position or a post when he has literally no attachment to being in that post. That's one of the qualifications. Like for example, someone offers me a temple president post, and I have absolutely no attachment. I don't want to go there. Actually, no, I don't want a temple president's position, right? So then that becomes a qualification to be a temple president, because if you have an attachment to some post or position, it always comes with raga and dvesha. It always comes with some attachments. It always comes with, okay, I will use this post for my whatever, right? For my benefit. I want to become temple president, or then that means you have some intention behind becoming that or occupying that position, and that intention generally comes out as ruling over others or becoming the controller of others and all that. So now I'm just giving temple president as an example, but any position is like that. The first and foremost qualification is that you are not willing to accept that post. That you are not. But then your superiors, in this case Vyasadeva, came and they say that no, you have to be in that position. Then by their blessings and because of their desire, we take that position. Otherwise we are not ready to take that position. Now the question may come, why Pandavas suffered so much? Many acharyas have given so many explanations. I will try to go a little bit into this. Why do devotees suffer so much? Pandavas suffered, Kunti especially suffered so much because she was in the position of protecting 5 children. And then she was, many times it was with the help of Vidura and Akrura, she was able to protect. Otherwise, one single lady with 5 children, what she could do? It was very difficult for her. Of course, this is all by the arrangement of Krishna. Krishna actually protected Kunti at all stages of her life. So basically, Many times we may think like, why did Krishna give these troubles? Actually, there are several things that we need to understand in this connection. First of all, we have to understand that Krishna doesn't give us troubles. Sometimes he may give us troubles through the agency of material energy in the form of our karmic reactions that may be there. That is for a conditioned soul. But for a pure devotee, especially like one like Kunti or Pandavas, there is no karma actually. And in one sense, we can say this is the arrangement of the Lord, but we also have to understand that this is the nature of the material world. We cannot expect, one may think like, if we say this is the arrangement of the Lord, one may think, okay, Lord is so sadistic. He always wants his devotees to suffer so that they can pray to him, and then he will go and protect. This is like a big drama. One may think like that. That's why, for such people, one more reason that we need to understand is that the nature of the material world is it is always troublesome. It is always very troublesome. That's why this is Dukkalayam Ashashvatam. You may be anybody. You may be Kunti, you may be Pandavas, you may be Bhishma, you may be anyone. Doesn't matter. And you are in this world, you have to suffer. That's all. Because this is a place of misery. And devotees are those people who are differentiated from common masses by their response to suffering. Right? Their response to suffering is very transcendental. We may also respond to sufferings, just like I want darshan of Lord Balaji. I can say, okay, I have money, I will throw it at with some MLA or somebody, because I feel like going through this big line, especially in the summers of India, you have to stay for 8-10 hours in the queue. It's horrible. It may appear like that. Because I feel like I am so great. I am so great that I want the quick darshan of Balaji. And I may say, okay, I'll throw some 10,000 rupees and get some MLA recommendation or whatever, and go in, break the line and go through, get the darshan within 1 hour. Now, what is the purpose of getting darshan? That is lost through this process, right? We are wanting to be submissive in front of the Lord. That's the purpose of going for darshan, right? We want to say, my dear Lord, I am no one. I have no qualification to come here. Every day this has been my prayer after coming to Tirupati. I don't know why Lord has brought me here, but I am utterly disqualified to stay in this place. Somehow Lord shows some special mercy upon some people, and that's why I am here actually. The consciousness should be that Lord is the supreme person, and I am the most fallen person in the entire world, like our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, right? He says that I am fallen than Jagai and Madai, and anybody who utters my name will get all sins, right? So that is the consciousness of a devotee, that he is always considering that Lord is very great, and to get his darshan waiting for 8 hours or 80 hours or 8 lifetimes is nothing actually. We see the example of Murari Gupta. He was ready to wait for million lifetimes to get the association of Lord Chaitanya. But when we think like, okay, I will throw some money and get darshan of the Lord, and Lord is not very pleased actually. So why I gave this example is because there is a transcendental way of looking at everything, and there is a convenient, socially convenient way of looking at everything, right? That's why I wanted to give this example of Balaji's darshan. And Lord puts devotees in difficulties. Rather than saying that, I just said that that the place itself is like that. There is so much misery in this world, and Lord feels very happy to be dwelling in the thoughts of pure devotees, right? We hear that in the song by Narottam Das Thakur. He says that Tomara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishrama. Lord Balaji or Lord Krishna is actually taking rest in the heart of a pure devotee. What is the place where you can rest? Imagine I put you in a room and say that for this night you are going to stay here. All the facilities are there. There is a nice AC is there. In winter there is heater. There is good humidifier. You get all facilities, all comforts, nice bed, everything is there. But only thing I say is like, there are 2 snakes in the room. Now you take rest. Is it possible for any one of us to rest in such a room? We will never be able to rest. Even if there is every facility given, we will not be able to rest. We will feel like, oh, where are those snakes? Nobody knows. right? So if only one or two snakes are there in a room, you cannot rest. But imagine if there are 6 big snakes along with their children. These big snakes are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya. And there are so many children for these snakes. I'm sorry. In such a place, Lord doesn't rest. Even if he comes there, he comes as a snake charmer, right? Through the holy names, he comes as a snake charmer to capture these snakes and throw them away. He doesn't rest in those places. For him to rest, it should be a very nice snake bed, of course. But then this is a pure devotee of the Lord. Unless you have all the transcendental qualities in the heart, it's not possible for the Lord to rest in the heart or thoughts of a pure devotee. So, although material nature or material world is a place of misery, Lord actually takes great pleasure in residing in the thoughts of a pure devotee. And this is the transcendental response of a pure devotee towards the problems of this world. The transcendental response is that he constantly remembers Sri Krishna and his divine pastimes and his divine form. With that, he actually is able to cross over the miseries of the material existence. In this connection, I would like to narrate a short story in connection with Lord Balaji. In this pastime, Lord Balaji, as you all know, he is actually residing on the Seshachalam hills. One day, one great sadhu, he is not known as a great sadhu, of course. He is a very simple sadhu, actually. He came from North India. His name is Babaji. He comes from North India and he goes to take darshan of Lord Balaji. He goes and he stands in front of Lord Balaji. There are thousands of devotees who come and take darshan of Lord and keep going. This happened just 400 years ago. It was not like, some centuries ago. This is 300-400 years ago this happened. And this person stands in front of Balaji and he completely forgets himself. He thinks, actually, before coming to the temple, he thinks that, okay, I'll take darshan of Balaji and then proceed from here to the next destination, next pilgrimage place. But then he stands in front of the Lord and he forgets himself. And when the temple was about to be closed in the night, then he realizes, he comes to external senses that, oh, I spent my whole day here. And then he goes back. He goes back and then he thinks, okay, tomorrow I'll just take one last darshan of Balaji and go away from here. Because there are so many other places to cover. Again, the same thing, he comes in the morning, he stands in front of the Lord and he forgets himself. He's just looking, watching at the beautiful face of Lord Balaji, beautiful form of Lord Balaji. And he stands there throughout the day. And it is the evening time, there is the closing time. He just closes. When the temple was being closed, he comes to his external senses. Just like you see, we have our bead bag. When we chant, I get, completely immersed, not in Krishna, but in so many material thoughts. I come to my senses only when the Guru bead or the Krishna bead comes. Okay, now my round is over. Let me go to the next round. And then forget Krishna again. And then again the last bead comes. Then we remember, okay, now I am chanting actually. Again the first mantra we chant and then we forget. 107 mantras we forget. Last mantra again we remember. Right? That's what happens. Same way, this person, this Babaji, was totally lost in the thoughts of Balaji. He was completely immersed in just taking the nectar of the form of Balaji through his eyes into the heart. But then people around him, all these great pujaris who are there serving the Lord, they thought, maybe this person is standing here for something. If you imagine, Lord is wearing all these golden ornaments and he is Lakshmipati, he is wearing all these things. And now somebody comes and constantly watches the Lord. What do anyone think? We want to give some protection so no theft happens. That's what they were thinking. And this is observed by this Babaji. And he thought, maybe I am causing some inconvenience in the heart of these great devotees who are serving Balaji. Right? And I am causing some disturbance. They are actually serving Balaji in a transcendental way. And I am here because of my staying here, their minds are disturbed. Let me go away from this place. So he goes away from this place to some faraway place. But then his heart is constantly thinking of Balaji. When will I get to see the Lord? So in this thought, he just enters, in the night, he enters his sleeping state. But then the thought of Balaji is never leaving him. So in the mid of the night, somebody comes and wakes him up. And who is this person who wakes him up? That is Balaji. Balaji comes out of the temple. and comes to this pure devotee Babaji, and he says, "Oh Babaji, get up. I came here to see you. Why did not you come to the temple today?" Then Babaji says, "My dear Lord, what are you doing here? You should be nicely resting in the temple. This place is a forest. Why did you come here? I don't want you to be here. I thought I am causing inconvenience to the priests, and that's why I came here. I am a useless fallen soul. But you are supreme person and you are coming in search of me. Lakshmi and Padmavati are waiting for you. Please go back." Balaji says, "See, it doesn't give me so much pleasure being with Lakshmi and Padmavati as much as it gives me pleasure being with you. I want to be with you. I want to stay with you." So Balaji comes, he says, "Let us play a game." And this is a Sakyarasa in their friendly mood. They are playing this dice game that night. And early morning there are bells ringing and Balaji goes back. And next day night again he comes, and the first question Babaji asks is like, "You did not sleep yesterday. Today also you did not sleep. What will happen to your health? Now please take care of it." Balaji says, "No, don't worry. I am here just because if you don't come to see me, I will come to see you." Like that, Balaji comes every day night, he plays, and then he goes back. And Babaji is very happy with this. But he was not considering himself like a great person and wanting to go and project and show that, see, Balaji is coming to play with me. He never wanted to say that to anyone. He is just living in the forest, and every day night Balaji comes and visits him. That place is there in Tirumala today also. So one day Balaji thinks that, let me actually glorify this pure devotee Babaji in front of all the priests that are there in Tirumala. I will arrange a situation in such a way that this person gets all the glory, all the credit. This person is neglected. He is my pure devotee, right? So with that thought in mind, he actually leaves one of his necklaces there when he was leaving, that day early morning before he leaves to temple. Balaji leaves one of his necklaces there, and then Babaji also goes to sleep, and after some time he wakes up and he sees that this necklace is lying there, and the pujaris actually see in the altar that Balaji is missing this big necklace, that something is gone. And they all start discussing amongst themselves, "Oh, where is the necklace of Balaji? Who is the thief? All the gates are closed, all the gates are locked. There is no chance anybody can go inside, but then the necklace is missing. This is not also present in the temple." Now they all start thinking about, okay, there was this person who came some time ago. Maybe he is such an expert thief that he can steal the necklace without even entering into the temple, or maybe he has a different way to enter this temple and he stole this. They were thinking like this. By that time, Babaji also wakes up in the forest and he sees that Balaji forgot his necklace. Maybe he is missing this necklace, and he takes the necklace and goes to the temple. He doesn't go run away actually, He goes to the temple wanting to give this necklace to the priest, saying that, yesterday Balaji came, he left the necklace with me. So he wanted to tell this. He goes and priests are waiting, all searching for this necklace. And then they see it in the hand of this Babaji, and everyone's eyes are on the necklace. This is the person who stole, and this is the purpose he came here, to actually steal the ornaments of the Lord. They all start looking at him with a doubtful eye. And then he goes and he gives to the priests, like, "My dear priests, this necklace is of Balaji, please put it back to him." And the priest naturally asked this question, "Where did you get this from? You are not even coming here nowadays. Earlier you are just watching the Lord. That time only we doubted that you come here for some stealing some of the property of the Lord." Then this Babaji says, "My dear priests, please don't misunderstand me. Actually, Balaji comes every day night to see me. He comes, he plays with me, and then he goes back before the altar opens. For darshan, for Suprabhata Seva. At that time, priests thought he's a madman and he's really a thief. He's actually cooking up some story. And then they actually don't believe this story at all. But then Babaji was truthful. He never lied actually. He said, "This is what is the story. This is what happened." You see, what I'm trying to say is that Lord personally put his devotee in a problem in this way, just to glorify him actually. It's not to diminish his glory. It's not to, but then, you see, anything great happens with a great effort, correct? Just like golden ornaments, how do they get so much of brightness? Unless they are actually put in fire, they are burnt, totally melted, and then all the impurities are removed, and then so many different metals like copper are added in small quantities, so it gets a great what do we say, effulgence, right? So similarly, purification process is like this only. You take any purification process, material, spiritual, everything is like this only. We are like pure gold, sons of Lord Balaji. Huh? But then all these Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha are all surrounding us. So it has to be put in fire. All the impurities have to be removed, and great qualities have to be added. And this process is going to be painful naturally, unless we are totally surrendered to the Lord. So the same thing happened to Babaji. He is taken to the king, and the king asks what happened, and he says that Balaji comes to play with me. But then nobody believes. Then they say, okay, whatever, if you are saying whatever story you are telling is truth, then we will put you to a test. The test is that you will be put in a room, a big room. You are put alone there. The room is locked, so many gates are there and everything is locked. And inside the room, there will be so many tons of sugar cane. If Balaji really comes to you, you should be able to complete this sugar cane. This is the test they put. And what this Babaji later came to known as Hathiram Babaji. Actually, this Babaji is thinking, Balaji, whatever is your plan, I am just your servant. I don't have anything to say. If they punish me, I don't protest. If they think I am the thief, I am not protesting anyways. If you come to protect me, I am grateful. Whatever you say, in any case, I am grateful to you. Right? Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ashlisheva Padaratam Pinashtumam Adarshanan Marmahtam Karotuva Yatha Tathava Vedadatu Lampato Matprananathas Tusayevanapara. He was simply praying to Balaji. That's all. Whatever is your wish, let it happen. If you get pleasure in seeing me get the beatings of the king's servants, I am happily accepting it. I won't protest. Like that is the consciousness of this pure devotee. He's sitting there. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, a great elephant appears inside the room with big, what do you call, tilak. And this elephant starts eating all the sugar cane, completes the entire tons of sugar cane and disappears. That's all. And next day morning, all these servants of the king, they come, open the door to see that the room is empty. And then all the doors are locked, not one, there are so many doors, and all these doors are like completely locked. At that time, king realizes, and he comes and asks what happened. Then the Babaji says, Balaji came in the form of this elephant, divine elephant, ate all the sugar cane, and this is the situation now. There is no sugar cane left in this room. So that time king realizes, so this person is not an ordinary person. Lord Balaji has a personal connection with this person. And then Hathiram Babaji, this Babaji is given the topmost position to execute the temple's administration. All the priests actually, Balaji actually tells to the priests that you should actually hand over the keys of my temple to this person. The priest also gets a dream that this person is a pure devotee. You are actually troubling or trying to insult a pure devotee. Please don't do that. You actually hand over the keys to this person. So the temple keys are handed over to Hathiram Babaji. Now this person who is not known to anybody in the world, Lord wanted to glorify him in a particular way. And then he was glorified like that by the will of the Lord. But then that process also involves so many ups and downs. Through those ups and downs, an ordinary person will run away. He will say, no, Lord is not there. Why he is cheating me? He came yesterday to play with me. And this person, Lord never forgets anything, right? But unnecessarily he forgot this chain here and it came on my head. This is how a conditioned soul may think. But then a pure devotee thinks like, whatever is Balaji's wish, let it happen. So in this way, a pure devotee never loses the vision of the Lord. He never protests the plan of the Lord. And he always aligns himself with the will of the Lord. So in this way, a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord. Just like Kunti Maharani is protected through all the difficulties. Not only Kunti, Pandavas were protected because of their connection with Kunti, because Kunti is a pure devotee. Because of their connection with Kunti, they got protected. Because of their connection with Kunti, they also became pure devotees. Because of that connection only, Krishna was acting like a servant in the home of Pandavas, right? He was acting like a servant, literally like a servant. And then although everything was given to them, Pandavas were not disturbed. Kunti was never attached to anything. And at the same time, everything is taken away. They never complained, saying that, okay, Lord, why did you take these things away? Several times they were taken away. Before the kingdom was given, they were in exile. Nothing was there. They never complained. After the kingdom was given, they were ruling it as a will of the Lord. And when Krishna left, they also left without any complaint. Right? So this is how a pure devotee actually lives his life. He has no complaints. This is one of the trademark of a pure devotee, that has no complaints to Lord. Never he complains, saying that, okay, Lord, let me get this. You see the example, so many examples. Like Madhavendra Puri was living like that. Ishwar Puri was living like that. Right? So many great acharyas in our parampara have been living like that. Right? They never asked anything from the Lord. Unless it is for Lord service, they never asked anything. Right? So in this way, we also learn this lesson from these great souls. In fact, Vidura also lived like that. He never complained when he was thrown away by Duryodhana. So we also have to understand that this is how a devotee responds to the difficulties or the circumstances that he is put in. By the will of providence, you can say, by the will of Lord, you can say, by the nature of the material world, we can say. Right? In any condition, devotee's response is same. It never changes. It is a constant output. That he never forgets the controllership of the Lord. He never actually deviates from the path of pure devotee. This is how a pure devotee actually behaves. This is what we wanted to learn from the behavior of Vidura and this particular question about Kunti Maharani. So I would like to stop here. There is another 5 minutes for 8 o'clock or 8:30. So if anyone has any comments, any questions, please feel free to ask. Hare Krishna. I'm sorry.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru and Gauranga. It's so nice to hear you. It has been so long.
Yes.
Hope the family is doing well there.
All good.
Very nice. I appreciate very nice. Your very nice talk. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Very happy to hear from you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for that, Babaji's and Lord Balaji's pastime. So, I mean, very nicely, I mean, relevant, I mean, the way Vidura or the Mother Kunti went through problems. For an external person, they look like so much trouble, as you said, right?
Yeah.
But the way they're processing, I mean, Mother Kunti was keep asking problems. Right? So it was, I mean, because Lord will be there. It's not that she likes the problems. Yeah, I mean, I was hearing, I mean, of course, this Balaji, the Lord is putting this devotee through some kind of problems, right? I mean, seems like their problems, of course, right? I mean, how a normal person will react to those kind of issues.
Yes.
So, but the devotee is taking it, I mean, completely differently, and also the Lord is doing that to bring the greatness of the devotee. Right, I was just hearing one other thing. I mean, how when a devotee goes through a suffering, right? When at least a pure devotee. So, I mean, for example, death comes for everybody, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just before the death, I mean, the person goes through kind of suffering. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what kind that person will be, right? It is a material body, but then the way they respond internally, they are responding. I mean, for me, I mean, I think the Prabhu was giving about the Prabhupada example. When Prabhupada was leaving, people were thinking that he is suffering, but Prabhupada was thinking that why these people are suffering. Right, so because he's happy to go back to Godhead, right? So the way they're processing is different, the way externally materialistic process is different, right? So I mean there was one person who was leaving the body. He was not able to remember anything, right? I mean, forgot everything because of his disease. But the one thing he remembered is the holy name. The way that he was in a hospital or nursing home, and I think some of the devotees went to see him. I mean, including I think Rompad Maharaj was also there. So I mean, they went to see him in that, and then the administration or somebody asked, "Who are you?" Nobody was coming. No family doesn't remember his name. Also, he doesn't remember the family. Also, nobody just remembers. But then, who are you coming? No, we are from the same religious movement that he was practicing once upon a time. Okay, he was not even, I think, practicing. So then, then they said he was just always chanting this name, and then he was making everybody to do that also. All he remembers is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, nothing else. I mean, the way, I mean, for a person, materialist, it looks like it is very bad thing. But
Yes.
for a devotee, that is what he wants, right? The Lord is doing, making sure that nothing else is in his heart, or he forgot his name also.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking, I mean, how, I mean, relating to these things, right? The past times, what happened 400 years ago, or Mother Kunti, or Vidura, or even the latest things, right? It's all, I mean, from I mean, my perspective, it is going to be different. But then the way from the devotee is doing it is really Lord is, I mean, getting his greatness, right?
That's
So
true, Prabhu.
thank you,
That's
Prabhu, for nice
very
pastime. That
nicely put.
pastime was very touching. Was very nice.
Hare Krishna. I see one comment from Sundari Leela Mataji. Need to understand more on one topic, qualification to accept role, being not attached to the role. So yes, Mataji, what I was trying to say in this connection is that first of all, if we have an attachment to take up any post or position, that itself, that attachment, I want to be this, that itself is a disqualifier. Unless somebody is asked by their superiors to take up that role, and that person who is going to take up that role feels like I have no qualification to take this role, that kind of attitude itself forms the qualification to accept the role. If we don't if we actually desire to be there in a post or position, that is a disqualification. On the other hand, if we are not desiring it, but our superiors are instructing or giving it to us, then that is a qualification. So when the instruction comes through a superior, it also comes with an empowerment to handle that service very well. If we desire and then somebody says, okay, you go because you are desiring, some superior also says that sometimes he may approve also, but then that time we may not get as much empowerment. We may simply go there because of our attachment to that post and position, and we may not be able to serve there very well. So that's what I meant by this.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It is so much clear empowerment. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anything
Hare
else?
Krishna Prabhuji, please accept
Hare
my
Krishna.
humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga. Prabhuji, it was very, very nice session and lot of things to understand, that whatever we got difficulty, it is Lord's desire sometimes, Lord wish. So we shouldn't afraid about anything. We shouldn't do any fear of that thing. And I am talking about myself. So I'm always benefited by Lord. I always thinking like that after hearing all these classes every day, every time. So it's very nice and very nice, very good pastime of Lord Balaji and Hathi Baba.
Thank
Very,
you.
very nice to hear you. Yeah, make me more strength by your
Yeah.
lecture.
Morning
your
Bhagavatam class is like a breakfast for the soul.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Definitely.
yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. After long time, I see you.
I'm happy to be here also. So, if there are no other comments, anybody else wants to say anything? Or else we can end the class here. Now it is Saturday morning. All of you. Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
I think we can close this session here, Prabhu.
Yes,
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I'm very grateful to see all the devotees here. Very, very happy, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
so much, Prabhu. See you more so more frequently.